What is up, guys? I'm Heath Pierce. You asked for it and we delivered. Welcome back to the Kick Power Rankings. Let me remind you, this is not just a list of the best teams in the world. It is our list of the best teams of the 2016-17 European campaign. It's all about how they performed within the context of the challenges set before them, and it is not a popularity contest. These are simply the teams that made this year so memorable in our minds. And give this video a like if you miss KPR. Now, let's get to it. So, we haven't done our Kick Power Rankings in a while. We're a little bit rusty in all honesty. So at number 10, we need your help to make the selection. Here are the choices. First option, Manchester United. A treble of sorts for Mourinho in his first season. They kicked off the year with the Community Shield, looked exciting at first with Ibra standing out, and then hobbled in mid-fall before going on a great unbeaten run where they climbed/stood in that now infamous 6th place position for most of the season, no matter how well they played. They did go on to win the League Cup and the cup that Mourinho said he'd once be embarrassed to win, the Europa League. Well, he was just being Jose. They wanted that desperately and are now back with the big boys in the Champions League. Another option is Dortmund. They flattered to deceive at times this year. They made a great run in the Champions League with so many exciting young talents. They dropped silly points week in and week out in the league to finish 3 points behind Leipzig, but they did win the DFB Pokal, a cup that they had failed to win despite being in the final the last 3 straight years. Fourth time is the charm, or maybe Leipzig deserve a spot on our list for their performances all year long, which no one can still believe. Roma were class most of the season, and Napoli were frighteningly good at different times this year, but both ended the season empty-handed. How good were Eden Dzeko and Dries Mertens this year? They finished top of the scoring charts in Serie A, with Dzeko getting just one more than Mertens to win the Golden Boot. Ajax made their crazy run in the Europa League and pushed Feyenoord to the final day of the season. In the league, Liverpool beat almost every top team they played in the Premier League this season with some exhilarating football, but teams like Burnley were their Achilles. Copenhagen won the double and only just missed out on the knockout rounds of the Champions League. How about PSG, who smashed Monaco on their way to the Coupe de France and just barely finished second? But yikes, that Barcelona choke. And speaking of Barca and that amazing comeback against PSG, all that drama only to get manhandled by Juve. They finished with just a Copa del Rey to their name, with MSN living in Ronaldo's gigantic muscly shadow for the next few months till the next season kicks off. Who else could be in the top 10? Hit us up in the comments and let us know who you think deserves a spot in our list. We need you guys. Okay, now let's get to the ones we figured out. At number 9, it's Tottenham Hotspurs. Look, I know their stats are even better than Chelsea's in a lot of ways, but still, 0 trophies when it's all said and done, and only Champions League qualification to show for a full year of playing very well won't get you higher than number 9 on this list, but embrace it. And for you Spurs fans out there, enjoy being one of the best 10 teams in our hearts this season. I mean this. Spurs were phenomenal. They scored the most goals, they gave up the fewest, and had they put up the same 86 points in other years, they'd have won the Premier League 2 of the last 4 seasons, including a 5-point cushion over the title winners Leicester last year. This was a memorable season for Tottenham, who broke the St. Totteringham's Day curse and are making an argument for being the new kings of North London, with Pochettino building something special. And shout out to the first back-to-back English Golden Boot winner since Michael Owen, the one and only Harry Kane. Plus, that midfield, Dele Alli continues to get better and added tons of big game moments this year, and Christian Eriksen had 15 assists. That's pretty legit. On to number 8, it's the miraculous rise of Feyenoord Rotterdam. Last year, it came down to the final day of the season, with PSV just edging out Ajax to win the Eredivisie title, while Feyenoord finished 21 points behind the champions. Not this year. Kout, Bodigan, Jonsen, and Ilya led the team to their first title this millennium, edging out Ajax by a single point. Speaking of Jonsen, if you go back to our Eredivisie preview last August, he was my pick for the player to watch after his 3.5 million transfer from Copenhagen. How did he reward me for standing by his name? He won the Golden Boot and finished tied top of the charts for assists. My boy. Now we head to sunny Portugal. At number 7, it's Benfica. This team was damn good yet again this year. They secured their 4th straight league title, their 26th Portuguese Cup, and their 11th league and cup double. You can't argue with that. They were the highest scorers in the league, had the best defense, and only lost twice. Made it through to the knockout rounds of the Champions League, and week in and week out had different players stepping up to make their mark. Pizzi, Mitroglou, Jonas, Ederson, and co were very, very good, and we are proud to put them at number 7 on our list. Coming in at number 6, it's the boys in green, Celtic. What is not to love about this club? They have Kolo Touré, for God's sake, but seriously, this club was phenomenal this year. Yes, they get a lot of slack for having no competition in the league, which I agree with at times, but how do you shut up those criticisms? Do exactly what Celtic did and go an entire domestic season undefeated, scoring 106 goals in the process. It doesn't matter what league you're in, the best in the world or your sole Cerveza Sunday league. An undefeated season is damn near impossible, and Celtic did it with grit, determination, and one hell of a squad, which included fan favorite and player of the year Scott Brown. This team took home the domestic domestic treble to add to their already amazing history, sick colors, and charismatic side. Well done, lads. We love you. At number 5, it's Bayern Munich. Bayern, just like Juventus, were a team who dominated their league from day one and had their sights set on a European trophy, but that dream fell short yet again in 2016-17. Regardless, they still had a dominant domestic campaign, giving up only 22 goals in 34 games, and a lot of that was without star center back Jerome Boateng. Bayern left it to the wire in many of their games, but when you have Ribéry and Robben playing like they're 21 again, and the world-class finishing prowess of Lewandowski, you need not panic. While they fell short, losing to rivals Dortmund in the semifinals of the DFB Pokal, and took Champions League champions Real Madrid to the brink before an unceremonious and controversial collapse, they only lost 2 times in the league, a league, by the way, that has far more competition from top to bottom than most other leagues in Europe. So for that, we're giving them number 5. For number 4, and part of me wishes they were number 3, it's Chelsea. What a rebound year for them. Just the season after finishing 10th in the league, they bounced back to win the 16-17 Premier League on 93 points and became the first team in the modern era to win the Premier League on 30 wins in a season. Costa was phenomenal after a crap year before, Hazard was phenomenal after a crap previous year, and Antonio Conte kept the pragmatic style of Jose Mourinho, but had a far better ability to manage players over a long season without burning them out or having them turn their backs on the manager. A strong attack, second best goal difference in the league, being supported by 16 Courtois clean sheets will certainly put you in the running for a title, and this year, they won it. The only question on my mind was how far they could have gone had they been in the Champions League. Well, this summer, Conte is going to have a backing to build a deep squad to give it a real go next year. And at number 3, it's the young guns of Monaco. Of course, you could have Chelsea here, and I put Monaco at 3 because they were so damn good this year and not only won the domestic title, they also reached the semis of the Champions League, and they did so with that breath of fresh air style that you get once in a decade from a team of young phenoms. On the domestic front, they scored 107 goals in 38 matches. I said they scored 107 goals in 38 matches. That's insane. They had 7 players with 8 or more goals on the season, which is a pretty solid recipe for success. When we look back at the season fondly, the reality is we probably won't get to see it next year at Monaco because they have too many players with too much money to keep the team together. Mbappe, Bakayoko, Mendy, and pretty much every other star is on the radar of Europe's elite. See you guys. And dear Juve fans, I'm sorry. At number 2, it's of course Juventus. What could have been the perfect treble, the club's first ever treble, ended in nothing but sadness as Juventus secured the domestic double but lost the Champions League final to Real Madrid. Things had all the makings of a perfect season for them and Gigi Buffon, who many thought could have won the Ballon d'Or should he have pulled off the unthinkable. Unfortunately, they gave up 4 goals in the final, 1 more than they had given up the entire competition combined. Regardless, their season should be celebrated as they still took home 2 trophies and 109 million euros, which is more than Real earned for being champions of the tournament. I know we always think next year is the year for Juve, but with one of the best defenses in footballing history, a footballing god in goal for 1 more year, and money to spend, this could truly be their year next year to win the treble. If not, an aging squad, especially in that defense, will need to be rebuilt. Get it done, Juve. We're rooting for you. And at number 1, and this is unanimous, it's Real Madrid. Even the Messi and Barcelona snobs can't argue this at the moment because Real are just so damn good. They are the only team in Europe to score in every game they played in the 2016-17 campaign, which is outrageous, and they secured the double, you know, the one that really counts, the league and the Champions League, plus a Club World Cup to boot. I don't need to get into Ronaldo's stats or how clutch he is because you already know. All week long, the one question going on in our office is this Real Madrid team the best group ever put together? The league trophy, back-to-back Champions League titles, and that record-breaking unbeaten run? Toni Kroos said 2 Champions Leagues in a row means it's not just a good team on the field, it's a good team off. And I can't argue that. We see so often at the biggest clubs with big egos that it's hard enough to put together 1 season, let alone 2 nearly perfect years in Europe's most prestigious tournament. Zidane looks like he could be an even better manager than he was a player, and that would put him into a category of his very own. So my friends, that is our final kick power rankings for the 16-17 European season. You can't argue with number 1, but you can argue with the rest. So have at it, and make sure you get down into the comments to decide who deserves the number 10 on our list. Follow, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys later.